Okay, I'm making sure. Perfect.
Cool.
And we're live.
That's right. Time loops, murder implants. Oh my. Someone keeps trying to kill our people. Phlebotomy. I guess we have tried this a couple of times. Happy Groundhog's Day, everybody, as we're talking Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 7, Episode 9, as I have always been. And of course, I am joined by the illustrious panel. One and only KT is in the building.
Hey everyone, happy to be back. I know I was gone last week, so happy to be back again.
That's what's up. And of course, Christian Blatt is here. Christian is our resident LMD. Christian, how are you?
That's right. My programming has an occasional emotion, but I've used up my quota for the month. So I couldn't feel anything as I watched this episode.
Well, your wife must be very happy about that. And let me let you know that we've actually done this recording 87 other times. You guys just don't know about it. Yeah. So we're going to break it down as thus. Time loop, Daisy, Coulson. Does Coulson have a soul? That's going to be a whole separate conversation. Daisy and Coulson, that interaction the first time. Someone's trying to kill Simmons. Someone is trying to kill Simmons. Sousa, and we get the kiss. We finally get the kiss. But does it mean what we think it means? Enoch with a candlestick in the living room because Enoch is the killer. Enoch is also the key. We get Gemma's got her memory back. That's a whole special way to look at it. Enoch's prediction, which he says, and when a dying man makes a prediction, you better listen. Impressive big sister. Who was that we saw at the end? Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., our special segment. What is something they should have done? I have so many suggestions. News and gossip, some predictions, and more. Let's talk about that overall thoughts on this episode, Christian. You had no feelings about this episode whatsoever?
No, my programming was glitching. So especially as we said goodbye to one of my favorite additions to the cast, that I felt that. And, you definitely saw it coming just the last few minutes. And just the horror in Gemma's eyes when she realizes what she's done. Our friend Rachel's not here today. She's off in Utah. We may or may not ever see her again. That's what happens when people go to Utah. But she and I had an exchange that I'll share later as to what we think that meant. I think that there was a lot, but typically, and I talked about this last week when it was just Rachel and I usually hate episodes of shows where they're caught in a time loop or for some reason we see the same thing again and again. I do think that they handled it really well. I think that it was different enough pretty early on. Having the constant of Coulson right away, knowing like, yeah, we've done this already. Usually we get it as a viewer like 4 times before anybody figures it out. So I wasn't as annoyed as I thought I was going to be, but I did not expect to shed any robot tears like I did.
Wow, interesting. Katie, what did you think?
Well, this one got me all up in my feels. I cried probably for the last 5 minutes of the show. At first, I was kind of like Christian. You never know with like this whole Groundhog Day story how it's going to pan out, and how they end it always determines how good it is. And I was pleasantly surprised, especially since I just watched another movie where that was like the whole premise. So I was very intrigued by the way they did it. Did not see that little twist that they had coming with just they keep throwing us all these curveballs.
It is the last season.
Yeah, I mean, I know, but I think I'm more surprised that they're throwing all those curveballs at the beginning of the last season because they only have 4 episodes left. So.
Well, that's my problem with this episode. There's 4 episodes left and nothing happened. Sure, we lost Enoch, but honestly, we could have lost Enoch in the first 5 minutes of the episode, and it would have been the same effect. Basically, secondly, also, and I'm going to bring this up in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Enoch's dying for like 37 minutes. They could have been like, hey, let's figure out if we can fix Enoch. What is this thing? Maybe we can put it back in him. Something. They could have thought of something and kept Enoch, especially since if he's an automaton, then why can't they open him back up or turn him back on afterwards? That's a conversation. We've gotten 18 Phil Coulsons. Can't we get another Enoch? A lot of these things are left in my mind. I didn't hate the episode at all. I actually really liked the episode. I think they're taking a page out of Star Trek Next Generation. I'm surprised Tom Cruise didn't die in this one a couple times. But my whole thing is, My whole thing is, as Katie pointed out, we have 4 episodes left.
Yeah.
4 episodes means I want action. I want Ghost Rider. I want something to happen. I need, like, this is honestly, this whole season has been 2 episodes long. There's 2 episodes that matter. I can condense everything that's happened into 2 episodes, and that'll be about it. So I'm expecting a jam-packed next 4 episodes. Let's talk about time loops. What do you know about time loops, Christian?
Well, as we've talked about 85 times today, I know that you don't want to get stuck into one. And I did think I liked the frustration of Coulson because I could relate to it. And the fact that when Daisy died, she needed a few more loops to get back up to speed for where she was at that point. So I thought that they, yes, it was infuriating, but from a storytelling standpoint, I think that they handled it right. And I think that I like that they didn't waste too much time with trying to get everybody in every time. The fact that most of the loop, Deke was confused, just made me love the little son of a gun that much more,
Even though they were mean to Deke as he's dead. Oh, Deke died again? Okay, good. Should we be sad? No, we don't have to be. No. Like, why are you? If I was Deke, I would be the one killing everyone. If I was Deke, I'd be like, you know what? Now what? Like, that's crazy how mean they are to Deke. And by the way, Christian, we've actually done this 87 times. You died 85 times. So that's why you don't know about the 87. Sorry, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, then this is the one that matters.
Actually, you didn't even actually have to die. Like, I would just kill you. It
wasn't to save anything. You're just there's just poison gas somewhere in here that just comes out of the ceiling just because you like to watch it.
Yeah, it was not even. I'm not even programmed to do that. Katie, what were your thoughts on time loops?
I felt like after we had so much of a progression of story in this season over so many different times, it was a little bit static. No, literally in some ways. I like them and I don't like them. I am like on 50-50 on it. It's just in the context of this episode, I feel like it kind of just held back the main finale of the story.
The first 100 times I've seen this type of trope, I thought it was great. Now it's kind of done. It's overused. With the time loop, the one thing I did like is that each time they explain the storytelling wise, they explained it very well. Why did Phil and Daisy not feel the effects? Because they're the only ones in futuristic sleep pods. Fine. Got it. I'll be on board with that. And then, of course, it went from 87 times and 14 times Daisy had died. It went from 94 kilometers, 91, 79, 65, 48. Kept jumping down. I thought that was brilliant. I like that. But the concept of it is 4 episodes left. I need something more. And a time loop wasn't it, unless the time loop had time-space continuum significance. Hey, this time loop is going to destroy the entire universe now because we opened and unleashed it. This is why we're doing this in the first place. I don't know. What do you guys... I mean, did you think this was a good episode? Like, did you like the storytelling? I don't know. I don't even know how to express this part.
I think I enjoyed the second half better than the first half. We got some really good meaty stuff in the second half that showed some of the character development that we've been waiting to see. As far as the first half, not so much.
I think that not the pass where Daisy and Sousa kiss, but the one before that when they were just talking and she starts to like figure it out. I really liked that interaction between them. I liked when Simmons figured out, that she's done something horrible. As much as I'm going to miss Enoch, I thought that the scene was very well done. But as Michael says in the chat, and you can see it on the screen, that's the beauty of StreamYard, 4 to go and no Fitz. Something is wrong. And Rachel and I have very strong feelings as to what that is that's wrong with Fitz and why we have not seen him. It is not going to be a very popular opinion. But I think that I didn't love this episode. I think what I like more than anything is I like the point it's gotten us to for these last 4. I think that it's like, well, don't let me down these next 4. Let's, we went to the 80s. We did all this stuff. Now we really need to push on through to the end and really tell the story that we've set out for, which, from the commercial for next week, I feel like that's what they're going to do,
I'm hoping that they do something because like just like we said, we haven't had fits. It's 4 more left, and it better be something horrible that Gemma did. It better not be something that I'm just like, really? If it's a shrug, no. I need horrible.
She realizes that she wore white after Labor Day.
That's what it feels like it could be, Yeah. 2 episodes left. Gemma's like, oh no, white. So I don't know. Let's talk about Daisy. Daisy keeps waking up. She figures it out. Finally goes to Coulson. Daisy, this episode, was she the hero or the villain? Katie.
TBD. Honestly, I don't think we're going to find out until later on what's going to happen. I mean, he did say, "I've seen what happens. This is all going to end your guys' partnership." So, and I feel like that's a lot of what Daisy does. Daisy is very impulsive. It's kind of one of the things that's very human about her is she does what she thinks is best in the moment and doesn't always think 4 steps ahead. So we'll see.
Christian.
Well, you've given me something to think about, Katie, because we remember that there's always the potential for Daisy to live up to her title, Destroyer of Worlds.
Exactly.
And we could see that. I am inclined to think she is still the hero. I do think that there's going to be some tremendous sacrifice in the series finale. And Daisy's going to have to make some very difficult decisions. And I think that, it was interesting. They didn't really take the time to explain to us how she was able to be aware of the loop. And I think that's fine. I think it's just like, yeah, right. It makes sense somehow. But I don't know. I think that you're right to some extent, TBD as to who she is. But right now, I'm leaning towards hero for sure.
I mean, I also think that, first of all, we see that someone else has her powers, possibly, right? So that could be something. Also, it's possible. Here's the thing, and this is a throw out. Maybe Quake's powers, we always just assume that she's just vibrating buildings or whatever is in front of her. But what if it does have to do with molecules and time and space? That would make it much more powerful than we anticipated to begin with. And I was hoping that would be the connection, especially with the time loop, that it turns out that has something to do with it. I don't know. We'll see. I just need, what? Last season, I need something big to happen. That's really what it comes down to. We had a great 3rd season with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I wanted something, fast-paced to go. Coulson, he sticks around. He's around. And he has this debate, does Coulson have a soul? Christian, do you have a soul? You're an LMD.
I mean, even before I was an LMD, the answer was still no.
Oh, okay.
So I'm probably closer to having a soul now that I'm an LMD than when I was organic matter. Yeah. But the answer is still no.
So the answer is no. You don't think Coulson has a soul?
No, I don't think that this Coulson does. I think the Coulson that had a soul is the Coulson that died in Avengers. I think that these are all imitations, and it's like if you think of the old days when you used to make a copy of a cassette or a VHS, and each time it got a little bit degraded. This is like an 8th generation VHS copy of Coulson. You can still talk to it. You can still hear it. It's entertaining, but it's missing, sort of the magic of what made it so special to begin with.
Well, maybe that's why May can't feel a thing. Katie, what do you think?
I think with Coulson, I mean, it is hard to say whether or not he obviously is no longer does have a soul, but with anything with the LMDs and things like that, I think their programming tries to remind them what it was like to have a soul. So they're holding on to the memory of what they had when they were alive more than anything. So he's still trying his best to be who he was before, but obviously he can't be. And it's a little bit it sounds way deeper when I say that, because in some way we are all, even as humans, you're all learning from everything. But I don't know. Yeah, I definitely think he's conflicted and has a lot of inner turmoil because of
So
it.
Coulson has no soul. Coulson has no soul. That's both of your votes. Does Enoch have a soul? Did Enoch have a soul?
No.
Oh.
I don't think so.
No.
So
No.
why are we so sad that Enoch died? If Enoch didn't have a soul, we're missing. Is our laptop broke? Is that how we're feeling?
Because he still has learned a lot about humans that I think it's the empathy matter. So even if he doesn't have a soul, he still learned some emotions from humans, and that's what's making it harder to say goodbye to him. Even though he may not physically know that on his own, he learned it. So
I used to have the greatest toaster, and I'd had it for years, and it was so well broken in that you just knew exactly what setting it was. You hit the bagel setting, the bagel came up perfectly toasted. And then one day, just the lever broke; it wouldn't go down anymore, and it was like I lost a family member. And to me, Enoch is that toaster. It was around long enough that it understood its place. It was able to serve very well, and occasionally it could even make you laugh. But now our beloved toaster is no more. And to what you were saying earlier, Tehran, sort of this idea of like, well, Enoch has to die, and everybody's like, okay. That's sort of like, the girl who says, I think we should break up. And you go, yeah, you know what? I think you're right. I'll see you later. It was nice knowing you. But actually, what that conversation was supposed to be like, wait, no, why do you think we should break up? Should we talk about it? What can I do? And I think that maybe for Enoch's sake, they should have been like, are you sure? Isn't there anything else we can do? I mean, we have all this technology around. Isn't there something we could do? I mean, could Coulson like jumpstart him? I mean, he's an LMD with Chronicon parts. So yeah, I don't think he had a soul, but that still didn't mean that he was a valued member. I mean, come on, he's at least human looking. And how upset do people get when like C-3PO or somebody gets blown up? And I mean, he's annoying. So yeah, I think there's no soul, but we can still be attached to him.
I also hate when people are mean to C-3PO. He's such a great guy. I'm going to say that I think that they both have souls, and even though it's not in the anthropomorphic way that all of you are dictating what souls are, they both have souls. And if they didn't, then we wouldn't feel that connection or loss, or they wouldn't be self-aware of their existence and their death and their lack of existence thereof. And that is a connection to what a soul basically begins and propagates. So I actually like thinking that both of them have a soul, even if it's not in the way that we think, the same way that the Autobots had souls and the Decepticons. And so like, I really feel like it's just a different format of life that exists. And Enoch was very self-aware of his death. Enoch does die. We're going to talk a lot about Enoch, but let's talk about Coulson's role in Daisy and Coulson and getting them up to speed. Coulson basically breaks it down to Daisy very quickly. I like that it happened that way. Christian brought up that he liked that it happened that way. Katie, did you like it too?
Yeah.
It was quick. It was to the point. It was unproblematic, which I like. So we jumped right in. But then someone was trying to kill Simmons. Were they doing too much?
Were Daisy and Coulson doing too much?
No. The fact that they're trying to kill Simmons on the show, this was like what they used to. Was that too much?
There was a little bit. I think so. Yeah. There's a lot.
There are 5 people on the ship. Like, who's, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Christian?
I did like the montage where we saw each time that Enoch just beat up everyone and left them with an inch of their lives. I that started to get funny. But yeah, the idea that Simmons had to die, I think I think that they raised the stakes a little too much. It was an interesting reveal that it was Enoch, that his programming, and that you couldn't override the programming. So yeah, but I think you're right. I think that they're definitely, I think they're taking some pleasure in messing with us on stuff like this,
So you have a Chronicom that can beat up everybody, and yet you have killer Chronicoms that get beaten up every time they match up against them. How is that even equally fair? How does that work out? How come is Enoch like the champion Chronicom that we didn't know about? That he's like the master killer that no one sees? And then you have the ones that are specifically trained to kill and they can't beat them up. Thoughts?
I had not even thought about that until you brought it up. So that's an interesting question that I can't think
we've
of an answer.
literally seen them fight Chronicom all through the season and last season. And yet and Enoch is the constant threat. By the way, just to let you know, they have like chambers in there that they could have tricked Enoch into going and just locked him in.
Yeah.
And he would be unable to get out. Yo-Yo is actually stuck on the Quinjet. And yet Enoch, they could have been like, Enoch, we need you to do something else.
Yeah, I think that the idea that Sousa would try and have lunch with him would stop him. I thought Enoch, obviously the actor who played Enoch, I thought played it very well.
Yes.
Which is, why are you trying to unnecessarily delay me?
And should have killed Sousa for that too. Yes, that's when Sousa deserved to die.
Well, Sousa's been on borrowed time since episode 3, so
And my whole thing is, we don't know how time loops work, so they're taking for granted the fact that if they die, they just start over again. They don't know if that's actually how it works. Like I've always thought about that, even when it comes to superpowers. If I gained superpowers all of a sudden, I would never fly like 20,000 feet off the ground, because what if they just stop all of a sudden? There's no guarantee. If it just stops, then I mean, it, easy money goes fast. That's how it works. Like you're in this time loop. So, but we get Enoch trying to kill everyone to keep Simmons' secret. Christian, this is your time to shine. What is this secret? What is this theory that you have come up with?
Well, let's bring in Jack from the chat, who says, I think we only see fits and flashbacks now. Once we saw Gemma's reaction to having memories, we get one episode that is all flashback to fill in the gap. Michael B thinks Gemma was crying because she remembers what happened to Fitz. Maybe that he's somehow with the Chronicoms undercover. No, he's dead. That is what I think she realizes. And there's also, that's definitely what Rachel thinks. And I am holding out hope that what it is that Gemma thinks he's dead. And that's part of, what they did so that she couldn't know where he was, is that so she thinks he's dead. I hope that there's the big reveal, but there could very much be the revelation that we do get the flashback, but he's actually dead, and we will not get him this season in the present tense because he's already dead. And if we remember, he is already dead. This is sort of like a weird time loop Fitz from before he ends up dying after their wedding. So this is the Fitz that went to sleep to go into the future, but then he has to go back to sleep to go back into the future. So, I think that there's a whole mess that was created by this. And I think that that's what she realized. I think that Fitz is not with us, and nor will he be.
Katie.
I honestly couldn't figure out what it is that she did. All I know, I was crying at that part, so I was a little bit clouded with my brain. I hadn't thought about the fact about Fitz being dead until one of my friends commented on it and said, "Do you think Fitz is dead?" And I was like, "Well, I sure as hell hope not." Like genuinely, everybody here knows that I love Fitz, but until you guys brought it up and the chat brought it up, I hadn't even thought about that would be why she's crying. I mean, or if that is the case and he is dead, is that why she wants to forget so she doesn't have to go through that pain?
I don't think Fitz is dead. I think that Gemma's reaction is not, if Fitz was dead, she'd be sad. She was not sad. She wasn't devastated. She was disgusted by whatever it was that she had done. And that included Fitz. Now, it can be two things, in my opinion. It's either that Fitz has now become somehow also cybernetic in some way because of the Chronicoms, or they had to do something disastrous, something like destroy planets and become the destroyer of worlds in order to keep Fitz alive, both of which is within reason, simply because Gemma is so unwilling to give up Fitz and almost willing for everyone else to die for Fitz to live, that I just don't think that Gemma would have let Fitz die. She would not say, I've done something horrible or I've done this horrible thing, unless she's the one who killed Fitz. And I don't think she could ever bring herself to do that. So I'm going to go with the unpopular belief that Fitz is still alive, and we're waiting to see it. But Fitz is now like the king of the Chronicoms. Fitz is behind all of this somehow. We've seen Fitz be evil before. We have seen evil Fitz before. Enoch is the key. Enoch is the key. Do we really need Enoch's electron displacement mechanism that Chronicoms use to regulate energy stability? Could we have figured out a different way, Katie?
Given their time constraints, I think they would have if they had been able to think of anything else, but they just didn't have the time to do it and wanted to get the solution done with the first successful way they could.
The one that fits perfectly, that, by the way, Deke made work, the same Deke that they don't care about or don't care if he dies or whatever it is.
He saved their asses.
Again, by the way.
Allegedly, we don't know how it turns out, but
Yeah, I think if Daisy and Coulson had been better at figuring all of this out, maybe there would have been time to figure out something to do. But yeah, you're right. This was the last loop. They were 1 kilometer away. So they just had to do it. And I did like the matter of fact way where Enoch's like, oh, well, I guess you'll be needing this, and whereas Gemma was just like, well, no, we can't do that. We have to figure something out. And he's like, okay, here, you need this. And Haywood Wong in the chat points out that remember that Elizabeth Henstridge directed this episode. That's Gemma Simmons, which I think she did a great job. I mean, it's again for a storytelling trope that usually annoys me. I think they did a pretty good job with it. But again, not my favorite episode.
And also the fact that she had a lot on her plate with directing this episode, and she still, I think, in the final moments of this episode, had one of her stronger performances in the series. That's got to be hard to do when you're also wearing multiple hats in one episode. So I think she did a very good job directing and managing everybody really well.
And this was a very Sousa Enoch heavy episode. Of course, Daisy and Coulson and Gemma. Actually, we didn't get a lot of May. We got very little Mac, and the little Deke we got was, hey, I don't want to alarm anybody, but time loop. Like, that's all we really got from them. So we did take that seat with Enoch as the key. I feel like they could have thought of something else. They have a lot of technology, a lot of know-how. Also, we could have brought Enoch back. We got to figure out, what does this energy stabilizer do? Oh, it provides energy? Well, let's plug him into the ship until we figure out what happens. I just think they kind of let him die. They also kind of let Sousa sleep a lot of the times. So what did you think about Sousa sleeping? And then, of course, let's get into Sousa and Daisy. Ooh, mwah, mwah, kiss. I'm going to beat Sousa up. Christian, what were your thoughts?
I thought it was interesting that, sometimes he stayed asleep and sometimes he was there. I did like the way it built, where she's like, wait, why are you waiting? No, really, why? And I thought it was very sweet. I feel like, although I'm still Team Tehran and Daisy,
thank you.
Look, and just keep in mind that the time loop where they kissed was undone, so it didn't really happen. We just think it did, but so he doesn't remember that. So I think it's going to be all right. But I really liked, like I said before, the character building for him. But they could have given some of the supporting cast more to do. Yo-Yo, it was basically like, oh yeah, you're really fast, so stay in there. Thanks, Yo-Yo.
Yo-Yo was in this episode. Crazy, I didn't even notice. Katie,
well, that's how fast she is.
Yeah.
I feel like in this episode, Sousa was more. They didn't want to include him because I feel like they thought it would be too difficult for him to continuously comprehend even more crazy stuff, which I don't think is necessarily fair to him because he's been pretty open-minded so far since he found out about everything. But I feel like maybe they don't know well enough yet to know what he can and can't do. Because, I mean, they know who he is, but he they don't know how he works with their team. So I feel like that might have been why they wrote it the way they did.
You know, it's
more comic relief. Because it was kind of funny how, there's that one person who always sleeps through everything.
That's not what I got at all. You know why? That's why I think it's interesting. I didn't see that. I thought it was Daisy didn't want to see Sousa die again because she was really hurt that time. It made her realize her feelings when she watched Sousa die. And then she's like, you know what? Who cares about the universe? I can give up a loop for this conversation. No, you can't. No, you can't. How about we don't all die because you need to figure out your feelings right now? I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm a little biased, and the kiss wasn't all that. I'm just saying. So Gemma's implant and this whole memory thing. How does this play? Christian, you seem to know all things Gemma. Let's talk Gemma and that memory implant and how she's so gung-ho about making sure she doesn't remember.
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, even if I'm wrong about the fact that Fitz is alive, whatever she's done, she needs to not remember it because you could see she couldn't function knowing 100%. What she had done. But, so anyways,
if she needs to not remember where Fitz is, if Fitz is dead, why does she need to not remember Fitz is dead? See? Like she didn't know that this time loop episode would come on. You would figure she would have just time to get over it and move on. So that's why I'm going with Fitz is still alive. Remember, I went on record saying this.
Maybe she cooked him and ate him, and that's why she doesn't want to remember it because she can't believe that she did it. But she was so hungry, and it
does look like a snack.
It was a delicious. A delicious haggis right there, and she was like, "Yeah, all right, I'll have it." So yeah, I think that it is interesting that it was there for her own good, and the lengths they went to make sure that it wasn't taken out. So I do think that whatever that reveal is, that is going to be a good one. It's certainly worth keeping keeping us interested throughout these last 4 episodes. But yeah, I don't know. I think it definitely is very interesting because the whole season has been very weird for Gemma. Whatever she did, we don't know how old she is. There's all these questions we have about her, and this is one of the things where it's just like, yeah, we need to know why this was so important. And I've got my theories, but I'm usually wrong.
I mean, is Gemma even human right now? We don't really know. Katie,
we don't know.
Well, I was going to just echo off of that. We don't know. And I've been wondering that ever since we found out that she had the implant in her head. We don't know what happened. We know they had a lot of time. We know that they've been doing some stuff for a while. How do we know? The truth is we just don't know any of this stuff. It's all unknown. But as far as it's a big slippery slope of so many what ifs that I don't even know that I can gather enough thoughts to say how exactly I think is going on and why exactly I think she made those decisions. But it just has to be in my thoughts. She knows that her love for Fitz, it is a weakness in the sense that she can't always think straight when she is thinking about him. So if there is something that can keep her focused on the task at hand, I think it's more of that than it is anything else. But for it to be something so drastic that it basically numbs her, either she knows something that happens and maybe what they did undid it. Does she know part of the future and knows that she changed it?
I mean, Enoch's prediction was extremely harrowing at the end. Let's talk about that prediction. Enoch comes out and is just like, I've seen the future. It's bleak. Oh no, I've seen the future. How have you seen the future in the first place? But what is this bleak future? Is Gemma aware of this bleak future? Is that what it is? Do they have to make a decision? Do they have to do something extremely horrible? Do they have to kill one of their own in order to save everything else? What are your thoughts, Katie?
I think it has something to do with, anytime you're messing with time, there is that unknown factors that can change it, at least in certain rules of time manipulation. And I think it has to do with all the time that her and everybody and Enoch spent trying to get all of this in order. they had to have seen multiple scenarios. And given how close she was with Enoch, I think he probably told her some of the stuff that happened in the future, and they didn't know which one would play out. So I think she's been to the future too, but
yeah. And then Key Files points out Enoch is from the future. Remember, of course,
a future that no longer exists. By the way, this future is far removed future. This is Deke is from the future. This is
Deke is from a future that also is likely to not happen. I mean, because Daisy did not destroy the world, at least not when everybody thought she would. So, yeah, I think that wherever they went and however long they were there, I think that they both have whatever this knowledge is, and the idea that because he didn't say you're going to die, didn't say everyone in the team's going to die, but that the team in and of itself will die. You won't be able to operate anymore. So there's a lot of reasons why that could be. I mean, SHIELD as an entity, we don't know exactly what happened. In terms of, you feel like this series, by all indications, has branched off from the MCU. So we don't really know what SHIELD is. We don't know who SHIELD is. So that'll be interesting to see. But I do think that, we alluded to it earlier, there are some very tough decisions that are going to have to be made, some sacrifice. And one of the things that I've thought since he's continued on traveling through time with them, it's I said this I think last week, that it's the theory of that film franchise Final Destination, which not that they're great, but it's the idea that you escape death, but it's still going to find you. And I think Sousa jumping around through time isn't, he's still supposed to be dead. So I don't think that, Daisy kissing him had me more convinced than ever that Sousa will definitely be dead. And that's because he's supposed to be. He's supposed to have already died, back in the early 50s. So, and my question is only who else is going to die? Whose arc is best served by dying? Somebody in the chat mentioned that Deke would be the one to take a dirt nap, which is very, very heartfelt way to put it. Well, but if there is anyone who would sacrifice everything for the team, it is Deke. What were you going to say?
You mean the guy that they all hate? The guy that they
exactly.
so much.
Well, I was going to say anybody who has been romantically linked or interested in Daisy has not had a very good ending.
True.
So in some ways it would be symmetry to have Deke die, but I really don't want it to be Deke. But it wouldn't be completely unexpected.
I hate endings for the sake of endings or shock for the sake of shock. I want it to make sense. I need this to bookend. I need this. Look, if you're going to give us a final season 7, it has to make sense. It has to be within the realms of I've invested my time into the show, energy, my soul, my heart into Daisy. I need this to work out properly. Yeah. So don't just end the show because you're ending the show. That's all I'm saying. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. They have not let me down before. 4 episodes left. I am questioning. Deke is from the future. Sousa's from the past. Enoch was from the future. We have a lot of future and past going on. And so I would love to know. And Gemma, who knows what time she's from at this point? Who knows? Yeah. So I'm just wondering, we've gotten different manifestations of Coulson who were aliens. We've gotten a lot of things happening. So just give us a great last 4 episodes. That's all I'm asking for. That's all I'm asking for. And make it plausible. Make it feasible, because I did not think Enoch beating up everybody by himself was feasible, considering. I did not think that Quake not using her powers once again, not feasible, considering. Yo-Yo was just a waste at this time. And at this point, has Yo-Yo become a speedster? Is that the concept? We don't have to tether back. What are we doing with Yo-Yo's power? What are we doing with May's power? I don't want May to have this power and it be for nothing. If you have this empathy power, it better be used for something. This better all come to play. All the little things. Enoch's death should not have been for naught. Enoch's death better have been because this is as I have always been, there needs to be something there. That's all I ask for.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Just chiming in from the chat, Jack says the only originals left are Daisy May and Fitzsimmons. I don't see Max surviving.
There is no Fitz. There is no Fitz. Stop saying Fitzsimmons. It's Simmons. Okay.
Yeah. And it's very popular in the chat that Deke is going, is what Michael B says. So
that would be such an underutilization of a character who's been amazing in every way.
I know he hasn't even gotten to tour yet, with his band. So come on.
Yeah, I don't want Deke. Of all the people, the one person I don't want to die is Deke.
Yeah, he and his band need to play at Live Aid. We need that.
I think, and I feel not just because I like Deke, but with a good series finale, I think you do need to take some sort of risk. And I don't know that killing Deke is a big enough risk to the show's ending. I think some of the best series finales that I've ever seen, they took a big risk and they killed someone in the main cast, even though it's rough to watch and it is hard. Some of the most successful ones have done that because you know that they're willing to do that.
Unless we need everybody to get a chip implanted and they can't know any of this has happened and they can't be friends. And that chip has to be implanted in each and every one of them.
Mm.
I hate that idea, but it makes sense.
That's the chip.
Like a Men in Black type thing with the flashing.
Yeah, we have to flash everybody because whatever secret that they keep, they have to split up.
And Michael makes an X-Men reference, like Rachel Summers. He'll be reborn when Fitzsimmons have their kids. So Deke will live on. So
I don't know if Fitz is dead. There is no more.
I mean,
yeah. Well, who knows? We don't know how long Gemma's been away. It was before the season started. Maybe they had a kid, and she gave it away, and that's something that she's
my predictions about Deke. So just
you think that Gemma's actually his mother?
Yes.
Because what was the name of his mother in the flashback?
I thought that they said it was like Diana or something. I don't know for sure that they did. Somebody said that they did not say her name, but I thought it was. So still trying to figure out if he did. But given what's going on with everything and not knowing what happened in between, not knowing any of the timelines, I think something bad happened to his parents. They don't say when. They don't say if it was. You don't know how.
Yeah, so. That's fair.
We'll see. I mean, at this point, 4 episodes left. Anything is realistically possible. Anything is realistically possible.
It's true.
And finally, we have to talk about this because it did happen. I don't know why it happened, but it did. We get this big sister throwing flames with the Hydra guy, like for no reason.
With Malik,
yeah, with Hydra guy. I don't know why. You know why I don't have a name for this character? Like Malik, sure, but we have no name because he's been that much of an X where talk about being underutilized. He's literally been the most evil, yet doing nothing person on the show.
True.
Yeah, true.
Absolutely. I agree, yeah.
And my problem is we have seen this once before. We have seen this with the senator's brother who was all the rage and then just was dropped in the middle of the ocean and nothing came back. I need that senator's brother to come back from his metamorphosis.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've been waiting for that for a long time now.
Yes, and I would think that would be the greatest thing. I've been saying that they're going to do that in season 7 of their final season, and they haven't even touched it yet. So we don't even know. We haven't even been on Earth, so I don't even know if Earth still exists at this point.
True.
Right? Like we've been everywhere at this point, but Earth. Whatever happens, who is this impressive big sister? Is that Daisy's sister? How does that work out? Katie.
I think it's Daisy's sister. Yeah, I mean, I think that that Daisy's mother was raising her like her daughter, whether she gave birth to her, it doesn't matter. I think that is definitely Daisy's big sister, and I think that's going to come into play in these last few episodes. You really get the feeling, sort of like what I said earlier, that we've had a couple of episodes that have been interesting, but they've been spinning their wheels. and this is the sort of the big push through to the end. And somebody in the chat thinks that they'll use 2 of these last 4 to wrap up the threat from Malik. But then the final 2 will be dealing with Fitz, where or if he is, and all of that. So I think that's a good expectation, something like that.
Do we know if the final episode is longer than the rest of it?
Well, I don't. Yeah, I mean, there's 4 hours left, but as of right now, they haven't announced if they're going to do that over 4 weeks, or if in 3 weeks we're going to get a 2-hour finale. But whatever they do, we're going to need to be here to talk about it.
Yeah, it's pretty common though to have a longer series finale. So,
I mean, I could see a 2-hour series finale, especially if it's going this way. If there better be an important 2-hour season finale, it better not be like half of it's a time loop, and then it turns out it was all a dream, and then
you resolve it in 5 minutes. The last 5 minutes. Oh, yeah.
I hate that kind of stuff. So, but we're all going to agree that we think, and this is Daisy's sister, even though we're as racist as can be, because clearly we just saw an Asian woman and we were like, that's Daisy's sister.
She has to be, yeah.
That's
Look,
basically...
as long as it's not a series finale where they end up in a church and it turns out they've been in limbo the whole time, it's going to be fine. So I'm not that worried about it.
Because I think we're thinking of the same show here.
I don't know, but I've never wished that Ryan was with us more than right now. But
same show, yeah. We're on the same wavelength
there. Yeah. Agents of Should. Let's play our favorite game, Agents of Should. Something that the agents should have done or should not have done in this episode. Let's start with Christian.
We said it already, but made some effort, even a half-assed attempt, try to preserve Enoch. He's a valuable member of the team, and remember, he's Fitz's best friend. Just try, come up with something. And it was like nobody moved. It was like, you want to do something? No. Oh, okay, he's dead. Okay.
Let's wait 27 minutes and let him talk.
Yeah. So that's what my should is.
Katie.
Mine's very vague, but not vague at the same time. Honestly, in this episode, I think they should have just done better about putting in more meat as to what was already going on and what's going to happen in the end. So it didn't just kind of feel like a filler.
Okay, I'm going to go with, here's my list of shoulds. Here's my list. My first should is this. We have these pods that are now we're saying that this is our theory and why we are still remembering everything. Great. Let's program the pod to tell us everything. Let's do something with the pod. Let's add a voice recording from the pod. Hey, Daisy, this is Daisy. We're in a time loop, and this is how we have to fix it. Every time we get a time loop note, I'm going to put it in this. Right? Yeah. I also think that we underutilize Yo-Yo. Let's figure out Yo-Yo. Yo-Yo's super fast. Let's use super fast somehow. We beat up Enoch for no reason. Let's just put him somewhere and cage him. You know, or maybe let's turn him off. We've done that before, by the way. We've shocked him. If you don't remember, Deke accidentally shocked Enoch.
Yes.
He was out. So we know that we can do that. We don't do that. We literally do nothing but die and waste 20 jumps, if not more, on Enoch, killing all of us. So these are all things where it's like, I get suspension of disbelief, but at this point, it's disbelief that you've created yourself, and now we're suspending your disbelief as well. I need not to do that. Chronicoms can beat up everybody, then why are the other Chronicoms not doing so? They've lost every fight they've been in.
Let me just bring in a few comments from the chat. Michael B. again. I think in the next 2 episodes, they're going to kill off all the Inhumans and just have mutants only. There's also the theory in the chat, this came up last week, that May is a mutant, not an Inhuman. So is there a difference between an LMD and a Chronicom? I mean, if you cut them open, yeah, but essentially there's a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
Jack says, I don't see Daisy and Yo-Yo both going away. They've ignored the Inhumans in the MCU anyway. And Michael circles back. Unless they do a spin-off, Daisy and Yo-Yo are gone. The Daisy and Yo-Yo show. I'm in for that. That's fine.
I'm
Let's
not.
see them.
I'm over Yo-Yo. I am over Yo-Yo.
But she has her powers back.
Doesn't matter. She's just kind of. She can't even do her lines. Now they're cutting out her lines where Daisy says her line before her. I'm over Yo-Yo.
Yeah, there's a few spinoffs I think I would watch. I don't know that Daisy and Yo-Yo one would appeal to me.
What about Deke and his band on tour in 1987?
I would definitely
watch.
I would watch a Deke spinoff, even if it's just like his adventures in technology, or I don't know. There's more. I mean,
yeah, Deke being a tech guru was one of my favorite things to watch.
I did like that. I agree.
Yeah. So, like, and if they did like a cheesy, you know, when he was working, like at the beginning of the season, when he was working at that big place where he stole all the ideas, and it was kind of like this campy tech show. Like, I'd watch this. That's kind of funny. Like if it did like a campy thing. So
yeah. I would watch the time when Yo-Yo and Mac were a thing, they were both much more interesting. Yes. It was a bigger thing. I would watch a Daisy Souza spinoff, possibly. I would watch a Coulson May spinoff. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we're not going to get that one. I would watch a Daisy May spinoff, where they try to keep Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. alive in some way. And I would definitely watch a Fitzsimmons spinoff. Mm-hmm. Those are the spinoffs I would watch. However, as of right now, guys, get me back on the team. Let's talk some news and gossip. Our friends at Screen Rant sent us over a S.H.I.E.L.D. has done what the Avengers couldn't in Infinity War article. While trying to fend off Comicom invasion of Earth, the agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. make a decision to Avengers of Infinity War or Avengers wouldn't in Infinity War. So basically, it talks about the time and the time loop. And since the Chromocoms have no intention of sparing the native population, they need to erase S.H.I.E.L.D. from the history in order to achieve their aim. Now, here's the thing. What if we rid ourselves of Chromocoms? We have effectively committed genocide. That could be a thing, and that could send Gemma over the board. I don't know, but it's a great article. It's a great read, and it talks about Enoch and how the time loop works and everything. I think that actually, I'm going to say Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is handling time warps much better than Avengers did. That's my opinion. Christian, you agree?
It's a very hot take, but I think we'll all agree that Back to the Future was bullshit. So anything that doesn't do that will be all right. I find that, you know, the two different approaches to time to be interesting, but it all flies in the face from what is kind of our established understanding of traveling through time, you know? So I think that the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. one, this is the roundabout way of saying, I guess that one is more agreeable, but I just don't like any of it.
Yeah. Katie?
As far as the time thing, like, do I think this one's better than the MCU?
Yeah.
They're just different. I feel like I can't really compare them because their ways of dealing with time are no longer coinciding.
Smart. So, do it this way. Say it that way, just in case Kevin Feige's watching this.
Let me just break down what Katie just said. Oh, I love you, but as a friend. That's what she just said to S.H.I.E.L.D.
Wow.
Because they used to, you know, connect back to the MCU, and then they branched off with it after Infinity War happened. So now I kind of feel like you have to see it as two separate little things.
Yeah.
And once again, Michael B. loves this version of time travel. So see, it's for somebody. It's for Michael B.
It is a Michael B. thing. I think it's actually done better. I just want it to mean more. That's all I'm looking at. Let's get into predictions. Give me some predictions, Katie.
Obviously, like I said, I still think there's something going on with Fitzsimmons not being his grandparents, Deke's grandparents. And as far as predictions, I mean, it's vague as far as who it's going to be, but someone, if not more people, are going to die. Like I said, it's very vague, but not everyone can get out of this. Just like in Endgame, if someone had to die, there had to be a risk. And I think it's not as much a prediction, but a hope, is that we do see a few people, and not necessarily Grant Ward, but some people from the past, and hopefully having some of those people make a cameo, but if it works to the story. I don't want them to throw them in because they think they have to for the finale, but I hope if it's organic and able to work, I would like to see some more of those characters again.
Interesting. Christian?
I'd like to see Deathlock, but yeah, I definitely don't need to see Grant Ward. And people always seem to forget about Trip, but let's bring him back because why not? But you know,
Poor Trip.
he'll be the actor will be able to keep his dental in SAG, so let's have him back just for that reason. So yeah, what I think is going to happen is a lot of heartbreak. Katie was crying. I want to make sure that Rachel's crying, but you know that they've done their job if Tehran sheds even one single tear in that series finale. And you know what? I think they're going to get you. Just one. There's going to be one tear.
I'm gonna be open to it, but I'll tell you this. My prediction is that they're going to have to implant a chip, obviously, and all of them are not going to be able to remember each other. Number one. Number two, they're going to have to do something to set the entire timeline back in motion, back to the beginning, how it regularly was. Because this way, nothing exists. Mac's parents are gone. I mean, nothing works out the right way. So they have to set the world back into motion, and it's going to be one single play, and it's going to take the sacrifice of people like Sousa and Deke in order to do so. And I think that's going to go back where maybe Deke even has to go back to the world that he's from, something of that nature, where it's such a sacrifice you don't see coming. It's not just a regular death sacrifice. It's something even more. And I think Fitzsimmons have done something supremely diabolical that they're going to have to put right back in motion before it all is said and done. But we'll see as we get into more Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Until then, where can people find you if you want to be found, Katie?
You can find me across all social media at KT_Christine and over on the Con Guy podcast as well on Sunday. I believe it's on Monday nights right now. So, yeah.
Love it. Christian.
And as it says on the screen, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at ChristianDMZ. And right here on this very channel, this Blackcast YouTube channel, subscribe. You'll find my personal podcast, the Blackcast, which is named after, but also we do our Marvel movie talk, which I did at a special time today after the New Mutants panel that gave us absolutely almost 0% news. It was not anything that we were expecting, but
what news could they give you? They don't even remember the movie. It was shot 14 years ago.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Pushed back. They're like, oh yeah, I remember doing that.
What?
Well, they showed us 3 minutes of it, so now all I need to see are the other hour and 47 minutes, and then
hey, at least some of it exists.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. Some of it's a movie, but we talk a lot about what we didn't see, and which is, will it be released? I thought that they were going to do, they announced earlier today that the next Bill and Ted movie is going to be in theaters and on demand on the same day, because there are places where movie theaters are open. There's also drive-ins, so see what you can do. But that was not what they did with New Mutants. There's a contest where you could win a way into a screening. And then even the director, Josh Boone, said, wear a mask. And I'm like, yeah, if you have to tell me to wear a mask, maybe I shouldn't go. But I do really want to see the movie. Well, and I didn't win. I didn't win a ticket.
You know what's funny about the movie? There's going to be technology in the movie that's actually outdated, because it was done at the earliest. It was done at 2017. I'm talking about if it was super sped, went through 2017. Even though it was filmed in 2016.
They're gonna be using flip phones in it, and you're gonna hear that Nokia ring.
Yeah,
and you're gonna be like, "What the hell is that?
Yeah. What is that? Yeah, why can't they just FaceTime?" You of course find me at I Am Tehran all across the board, and find me here Thursday nights with my friends. And I use that term loosely, by the way, because
of course,
it's funny, when our universe ends, I'm putting in that chip first. I'm going to forget all of you ever existed.
Well, Rachel's not here tonight, so you can say you're friends.
Oh, yeah, of course. Christian's my friend. Christian believes in me. Katie, what are your thoughts about Daisy and I?
TBD.
Okay, you're gone. Bye, Katie. Katie's gone. Bye, Katie. So Christian, my good friend Christian, my good non-racist friend Christian. Okay, let me throw that out there. And then the other two people who are usually on this panel as well. We'll see you guys next week, and hopefully we get more Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Until then, bye.
Bye.